Good. Oh my gosh. Good stuff. Barely. All right, so we just got home from Toledo Bend over there on the Texas-Louisiana border. You know, ended up in 17th in my group. So, you know, I had a decent tournament. After my practice, I'll definitely take it. It was pretty tough. You know, I tried more traditional stuff. You know, there's a lot of hydrilla in the lake, a lot of bank grass, a lot of ditches, and, you know, some points and things that where I felt like the fish were in a pretty much a winter pattern, but then we had that heavy rain, so the lake was on the rise, a lot of stained water temp was warming. So I was like, man, these fish are gonna come in to spawn or start to get ready to spawn. So I was concentrating on more stuff like that. And I threw a lot of vibrating jigs, a lot of lipless crankbaits, spinner baits, just a ton of different things, swim baits. And it was just tough, you know. I'd have a bite and then I wouldn't have nothing for miles. So kind of random for me. You know, I never really got on the group of fish like Dustin Connell. You know, congratulations to him and all those guys that made the top 10 are virtually the best in the business at doing that forward-facing sonar, targeting those suspended fish on bait. It's just something I haven't really mastered yet. I'm trying to get better at it. But ultimately what I did was I went to these areas where I felt like the fish were going to be coming to. And I was using my forward-facing sonar, so I got a Garmin Livescope 34 on there. And what I was doing is I was picking out those isolated grass clumps away from the main line of grass. So if I seen a clump over here, even though I might not see a fish, if I didn't get the right angle on it, I'd throw actually a drop shot in there. You know, a drop shot has saved me many tournaments in my career, especially this time of year when things get a little weird. You can't catch them on a jerk bait. They come up and slap at a spinner bait or a vibrating jig. They'll eat a drop shot. So in our format, you know, every scoreable bass over 2 pounds counts. I needed to get bites. And after my practice, this is what I came down to, getting bites. And, you know, I went through a variety of colors. The Roboworm, bold bluegill is the color they wanted. I was putting the Crawfish, Pautzkes on there. I felt like that helped me get extra bites. On Toledo Bend, Sam Rayburn, these places, there's a lot of people fishing. The weather was beautiful, a lot of local guys, a lot of other tournaments going on. So I wanted every advantage in my favor. And part of that was adding scent on there. Now let's get down to the rod and reel. A Certate 3000. You know, I had it paired on this 7'4" AGS Tatula Elite Cody Meyer design rod. And the reason I went with this little bit heavier action spinner rod is just because, like I said, I was throwing it in the grass, around grass, and there's some giant fish in Toledo Bend. So I didn't want to get myself in a bind. Now the line, I went with the new Overwatch for my main backing line, 12 pound. It's just, since this stuff's came out, ICAST this past year, I'm a really big fan of it. It's really smooth, super strong. It holds the FG knot extremely well. And I tied that to a leader line of 8 pound sniper, Sunline sniper. Never had an issue with that. And what I was doing, like I said, I was throwing at those isolated grass clumps. Obviously, if I seen a fish, I'd throw at it. Sometimes they bite, sometimes they wouldn't. And caught several fish. I forget how many scoreables I caught that day. Never got a big one, even though I felt like I was going to get a big one, because you're catching that many, you know, 2 to 3.5 pounders. You figure the odds are in your favor. Just didn't happen. I did try some lipless crankbaits. I tried a big swim bait. I tried a big swim jig, actually. Slow roll a spinner bait. Just didn't happen. I pretty much caught everything on that right there. Now, getting into day 2, you know, we had an off day and the weather was extremely warm. Like, I could have been wearing shorts. It was in the 70s, no wind. And I'm like, man, these fish are going to be, more of them are going to be coming to where I was fishing. So I was really excited about it. Running my first spot, throw the trolling motor in the water temp was 58 degrees. And I'm like, here we go. This is going to be game on. Because the first day when I put the trolling motor in the water, it was 50. So it warmed up 8 degrees, granted that's surface temperature. So I kind of was power pulled down on this one area where I thought I can catch them on the drop shot, and And I was like, you know what? I had a premonition, and I actually talked about this. I did a little pre-day 2 video that's on my Instagram. All right, guys, so made it down here. Gonna try a different little area. Kind of looks similar to where I fished the other day, but starting in a different area. You know, it's been beautiful weather, so water temps warming up. Did a lot of digging around my lipless crankbait box, and look what I found. This here is a TN65. Look at that color. I forgot I had this. It's a TN65, so that's halfway between a TN60 and a TN70, obviously made by Jackall. So that's what I'm going to start off with, and we're just going to fish around, see what happens, and hopefully advance to the top 10 and have a good day. Catch a big one. Had a little premonition the day before. I was going through my lipless crankbait box. This here is a Jackall TN65. I'm not sure which color that is. It's been a bait that has been in my box for several years. I'm like, that's a little something different. I'm going to tie that thing on. Mentioned in the video, so I said, well, you know I'm going to catch them on the drop shot, so I'm going to try something else. Lined up on this little spot, is a little high spot out there I found on my Garmin mapping, and threw out there. I think it was the second or third throw, catch a 6-pounder. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Oh my gosh. Good stuff. He's barely hooked. No. Oh my gosh. Would you look at that?
Yes, sir.
Would you look at that? I gotta stand up. Look at that sucker. Start the day out, look at that. TN65, I just talked about it. Right in the face. Immediately after that, I hung one. It just came off, it's just what happens. And kind of was, you know, okay, I'm cool. I'm gonna catch him on my drop shot, whatever. Picked up, for a different sound, I picked up one of my favorite colors, Spawn Tiger TN70. This is the disc knocker, okay? You can hear it's a lot duller sounds. It's a pretty much a one knocker bait, and caught a 210 on that. Had 3 or 4 non-scorables eat that. Went back to the 65, caught some more non-scorables, and I'm thinking, that's fine. Ultimately, it was just a tough day. I'd never relocated those fish. Tried the drop shot, caught, I don't know, probably 30 non-scorables on the drop shot, doing the same thing I was doing the day before. They were all scorables. So covered a lot of water, tried some new areas, tried some shallow areas, lipless crankbaits, vibrating jigs, even threw a buzz bait. Trying to relocate where these fish had gone, I just never found them. So I only ended up with a few scorables. But let me talk with you about the setups I got on both of these lipless crankbait rods. Daiwa BLX limber cast, 7'4". This to me is my favorite lipless crankbait rod. A lot of guys will throw it on a vibrating jig as well. I love it for a lipless crankbait. It's just got the right tip, the right forgiveness. It's parabolic, a lot of backbone, and you could feel a fish breathe on it. I mean, when they come up, and you know, you could almost feel them behind it before they get it. So super sensitive rod. I have both my lipless crankbaits rigged up like that. 7'1" Tatula SVTW. You know, casting into the wind sometimes, it helps prevent backlash. Super smooth. I like that 7-to-1 gear ratio. I could always speed it up if I need to, slow it down. And then 16-pound crank FC. I've talked about it time and time again. It's been my lipless crankbait line setup for, I don't know, 8, 10, 12 years. Never had an issue with it. And I also throw a lot of square bills on this as well. But, you know, overall, it was a fun week. Like I said, after my practice, I'll take what I got and get ready for Santee Cooper here in the next week or so. So lots of work to do. Make sure and check the the YouTube stuff out. We got some, hopefully some clips of that 6-pounder I caught on the TN65 and some other fish catches. So anyway, we'll give you an update from Santee Cooper.